The saga of FTX and Sam Bankman has shaken the entire financial world, but with SBF gone, the crypto industry has been shook to its core. FTX and Alameda were one of two major market makers for Tether USDT, and somebody has to replace Sam and the ecosystem of Tether he controlled. Well, the person filling the shoes will be the reason for the collapse of Tether and the crypto markets as we know it. Who is it and why will the markets implode? Find out in about 10 minutes because it's time for Chico Crypto. Now, it is widely known and accepted that FTX and Alameda were key players in how Tether USDT operated. In November of 2021, Protos put out a key piece which shined a light into the shady operations of Tether. It was titled Tether Papers. This is exactly who acquired 70% of all USDT ever issued. And in it, they analyzed the blockchain to uncover the players in Tether. The article stated, earlier this year, Protos shed light on that mystery by reporting that just two companies, Alameda Research and Cumberland Global, Binance's market maker, were responsible for seeping roughly 2/3 of all Tether into the crypto ecosystem. Together, Alameda and Cumberland received at least $60.3 billion in USDT across the time period analyzed, equal to around 55% of all outbound volume ever. $49.2 billion, 71% of Alameda and Cumberland's USDT was acquired in the past year alone, equal to about 60% of all Tether issued in that time. Obviously, there was a dual Tether ecosystem that consisted of four main parts: FTX Exchange and Alameda, its market maker, and Binance Exchange and Cumberland, its market maker. But there were still questions, because if we look at Tether distribution by protocol from the paper, we can see two blockchains had a large majority of all Tether on them, Ethereum and Tron. Who controlled which chain and why? Well, just under a year later, in September of this year, Data Finovation shed an even clearer light of how this worked and answered those questions by analyzing blockchain, stablecoins, and crypto banks to discover the players. From his analysis, he concluded, it sure looks like these two known close to USDT groups split the world up and manage separate shadow USD payment networks. Why does Bahamas-based FTX run by Americans dominate the East Asian Tron chain's USDT, while originally China-based Binance, run by people from East Asia, dominates Ethereum's USDT and gets involved in projects all over Latin America, Africa, and India? In fact, a good way to describe Binance's non-US EU focus area is everywhere USD are hard to come by that isn't China adjacent. Can we think of any simple explanations for how this system came to be? They then say, so let's present a simple theory which fits the facts. China-affiliated minor stablecoins feed the USDT on Tron China Payment Network. And more traditional, maybe we should say semi-traditional, routes feed a bit of that, and generally the remaining networks for the rest of the world. And those tasks are split among somewhat affiliated groups, FTX and Alameda, and Binance and Cumberland, based on their degree of independence and autonomy from China. Then the market makers can confidently maintain the peg because they have USD. Tether does not need to hold them directly. Tether just needs to know these market makers are suitably liquid and it'll run just fine. Yeah, Data Finovation found Tether doesn't hold the USD, the market makers do, as they are able to get relationships with banks, even ones in the United States. Binance and Cumberland run USDT on Ethereum, serving anywhere besides China, and FTX and Alameda run Tron USDT, focusing on China and Asia. Here is why this is so interesting. If you didn't know, Binance helped get FTX off the ground. In 2019, Binance announced their investment into FTX, and the article says, as part of the strategic partnership, Binance and FTX will work together to further develop the cryptocurrency ecosystem, which they did with Tether. But then it says, FTX will also help build out the liquidity and institutional product offerings across the Binance ecosystem, including its exchange, Binance.com, and over-the-counter OTC trading desk. Liquidity, helping them get liquid with fresh USD into USDT. That same year, 2019, is when Cumberland joined Binance. Well, this relationship between Tether, Binance, Cumberland, Alameda, and FTX blew apart in May of this year when Terra Luna went down, because this is when FTX turned on their own cartel. If you remember, during that time, Tether depegged the furthest from $1 in its history, down to 95 cents. Nobody knew why. There wasn't a clear answer to the mass redemptions of Tether, over 18 billion by the next month, June of this year. But I knew what was going on. June of this year, after the second wave of redemptions, I posted this video. Tether is a ticking time bomb. FTX is lighting the fuse. In that video, I showed FTX was trying to take down Celsius.
So who's the culprit? Well, according to Ethereum World News, it's SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried's Alameda Research. They have an article titled, Alameda Research's recent alleged STS sell-off put Celsius Network in trouble.
Then I showed Tether was a major investor in Celsius and had loaned Celsius billions.
So if you didn't know, Tether is an investor in Celsius. From Celsius's own filings, we can see Tether is in position 2 and 3 as a top shareholder. Besides Celsius themselves, they are heavy into Celsius. I also learned that Tether had made loans worth billions of dollars to other crypto companies, with Bitcoin as collateral. One of them is Celsius Network Ltd, a giant quasi-bank for cryptocurrency investors.
Finally, I showed the mass Tether redemptions going on, which I showed FTX was the culprit of earlier in the month.
The reason for this? Well, Tether was losing its peg, which was causing retail panic spread by the big news organizations. CoinDesk, Decrypt, and even Forbes were covering it. So what did retail do? They jumped out of Tether at these discounted prices on exchanges like FTX. He's part of the inside club that can redeem Tether. Of course, FTX was taking advantage of this opportunity to pick up Tethers from retail at discounted prices and then redeem them for profit, 1-to-1.
And finally, I came to this conclusion.
FTX, SBF, and most likely Alameda. Now, why would they be pulling off this manipulation, this hunting to take Celsius down if FTX is part of the Tether Cartel? Well, they may be trying to break free and take the crypto markets for themselves.
But why would FTX do this? Well, I showed they were switching sides from the Tether Cartel to the USDC gang in an attempt to go more legitimate with their banking partners.
Well, because he was getting deeply involved with USDC. Last year, May of 2021, Circle, the company behind USDC, announced they were extending their partnership with FTX to go global. And then just a few weeks after this, Circle announced they raised $440 million. And from the list of investors, one of them was none other than FTX. Now, some of you would say, why would FTX do this? Don't they have the same banking partner as Tether, Deltec in the Bahamas? You wouldn't be incorrect. They do bank with Deltec, but they have been moving away from this lately and increasingly going with an American counterpart, Silvergate. From this Bitcoin Magazine article, Silvergate Bank saw over $14 billion in Bitcoin crypto deposited in Q1 2022. They say its clients include FTX, Coinbase, Bitstamp, Kraken, and the company behind the USDC stablecoin, Circle.
Dang, Chico, why you gotta be so predictive? Well, I got a brand new prediction. Someone has to replace FTX on the Tron side of things. Who better to do it than the scam boy founder himself, Justin Sun, and he will be the Achilles heel of Tether's cartel. Now, if you didn't know, chats from a secret signal group with the name Exchange Coordination leaked a couple weeks ago. Paulo Arduino of Tether is freaking out about Tether depegging and congratulating CZ on his takedown of Sam. Paulo says to CZ, looks like Alameda is trying to manipulate the curve pool and depeg Tether. Needless to say, such a depegging would be incredibly debilitating to the space. Kudos, by the way, for exposing the FTX fraud that was masterfully executed. Then CZ said this to Sam Bankman. At SBF, stop trying to depeg stablecoins and stop doing anything. Stop now. Don't cause more damage. Pause trading. Pause withdrawal only, Tron. At Justin Sun. Let the rest play out. CZ is telling Justin Sun to take over the Tether operations, which is happening, and they tried to use the cover of Christmas to move funds. Large transfers are happening, like this 200 million USDT one. Tether sent it to Justin Sun, and then Justin Sun sent it to Binance. And then Deso got a vision, broke it all down in a thread. He says, with on-chain analysis to back up his claims, first off, I think this pretty much decisively proves there's a conspiracy going on. Justin Sun, CZ, and Tether are colluding in the biggest Ponzi in history. Whenever Tether's above peg, they print USDT and give it to Binance to wash trade into the market and do whatever the fuck with it. Below peg, Bitfinex swaps a legitimate ETH Tether for bogus Tron Tether to wash trade the peg up. Above peg, the situation reverses. Since the prints haven't stopped, I think they're throwing the kitchen sink at the wall now. I'm on them and it's all out in the open, so they must be desperate. Not even using go-between wallets. The change in pattern from below peg to above peg is irrefutable. It's on chain. The only way if this all makes sense is if Bitfinex and Binance are colluding, and Justin Sun has to be in on it to facilitate all this because Vitalik Buterin sure as shit isn't. Justin Sun is for sure in on it now. If you didn't know, Justin Sun and CZ are tight, and their relationship goes way back to the incubation of Tron. Binance was the exchange who facilitated and helped launch the Tron ICO in 2017, and Justin Sun's BitTorrent was one of the first projects to do a token sale on Binance's launchpad. Which, when it happened, the BitTorrent ICO in 2019, I made this video, Binance plus Tron equals pump and dump, jail time, CZ and Justin Sun scared, BitTorrent ICO hustle, which I showed the epic pump and dump pulled off by Justin Sun and CZ. Like I said, they're close, maybe closer than people realize. Let me explain.
And I have a little song I would like to sing to explain Justin's relationship with good old CZ. Every time your eyes meet, he wants you more than ye. It's almost more than he can take. CZ, when you scam thee, he can feel how much you love thee. And it just blows him that way. He's never been this close to anyone. CZ, he can hear your thoughts. Give Justin that cream. I don't know how you screw all these noobs. Justin's so in love with you. The tweets just get better.
He wants to spend the rest of his life with you by his side. Jail cell forever. Every little thing that you do, Justin is amazed by you. I hope you enjoyed Chip Chodeler. I just may bring him back soon. But like I mentioned, Justin will be the Achilles heel of Tether and that cartel. If you know anything about old Justin Sun, he is a scam boy and reckless.
Buy my shitcoin.
For example, in September 2020, Justin and his foundation, Just Foundation, whitelisted a bunch of projects on Tron as legitimate, not scams. As we can see, one of those was Node Token from Supernode. Well, this project ended up pulling an exit scam, defrauding all the investors. But that's just the tip of the iceberg with Justin Sun. In his early days, to gain crypto fame in China, he claimed to be the CEO of Ripple. And then he lied about partnering with NASDAQ-listed giants, bringing hundreds of millions of users to Tron. Blatantly scamming. Well, Justin is already under the microscope of law enforcement. In March of this year, The Verge put out this article, The Many Escapes of Justin Sun. And the article said, the prosecutor's office from the Southern District of New York, which normally handles financial crime on Wall Street, is searching for criminal evidence against Justin Sun. The investigation is being led by the FBI. Sun has already retained a top-flight white-collar defense lawyer. As the dragnet closes in around Sun, the grand jury is exploring a long list of potential charges. According to the subpoena, one of which was shown to me, they are wire fraud, conspiracy or intent to commit wire fraud, swindling, money laundering, spending the spoils of a criminal enterprise, failure to register a security and lying about it, aiding and abetting a crime, and conspiracy to defraud the United States. The walls are closing in on the Tether Cartel, and Justin Sun is the reason it breaks. Cheers, viewers. I'll see you next time.